I never thought I'd be the kind of guy writing something like this on the internet. But here I am, 29 years old, sitting in my apartment, staring at the ceiling, trying to figure out what just happened to my life. Because 3 days ago, my 24-year-old tenant knocked on my door and offered me something that wasn't a check, and I've been spinning out ever since. Caught between what I know is right and what a part of me, if I'm being brutally honest, didn't immediately want to say no to. Let me back up and give you the full picture, because this situation is messier than it sounds. And I think a lot of you are going to have opinions about the choices I made and the choices I'm still wrestling with right now. She moved in a few months ago, and from the beginning there was this energy, I don't know how else to describe it, this vibe she gave off that made me feel like she saw me a certain way. Like I was the casual, no-strings type, the fun guy, the FWB kind of person, which honestly couldn't be further from who I actually am at my core. I'm not that guy. I've never been that guy. But something about the way she looked at me, the way she'd linger a little too long in conversations, the easy smile she'd throw my way when we crossed paths in the hallway, it made me second-guess myself. Made me wonder if maybe I was projecting, or maybe I wasn't. And then she knocked on my door when rent was due, and instead of handing me an envelope, she looked at me with this calm, almost casual confidence, and basically put an offer on the table that had nothing to do with money. And I stood there in my own doorway, genuinely not knowing what to do with my hands, let alone my thoughts. Now I'm lying awake asking myself questions I don't have clean answers to. Like, was that a one-time moment of desperation on her part? Or is this something she's done before? Something she thought I'd be open to because of whatever vibe she picked up from me? And more than that, if I had actually said yes, which I didn't, but the fact that I even paused is something I have to sit with, what would that have made me? What kind of landlord, what kind of man does that make me if I let the power imbalance in that situation slide because she's attractive and the offer was right there? Because, let's be real, she's cute. I noticed that from day one, and I'm only human. And pretending otherwise would be me lying to all of you and to myself. But I also know, somewhere in the clearer part of my brain, at the moment I blurred that line, the moment I let rent become something other than rent, I lose control of the entire situation. Because what happens next month? What happens if she starts feeling like she owns a piece of my patience, my leniency, my landlord decisions, because of what happened between us? And then there's the other part of me, and this is the part I almost didn't want to type out loud, that started wondering if there's something real here, something that could be built into more than just a transaction or a one-time thing. I caught myself thinking, what if she stayed? Not just as a tenant, but as something more permanent, someone by my side, someone I actually invest in, and who invests back in me. And then I had to stop myself and ask if that thought was genuine, or if I was just romanticizing a situation that was actually just complicated and uncomfortable, dressing it up in feelings so I didn't have to call it what it might actually be. The truth is, I don't know what she wants. I don't know if she was desperate and embarrassed and hoping I'd be understanding, or if she saw an opportunity and took it, or if she actually feels something for me beyond just the arrangement we have on paper. And I don't know what I want either, which is maybe the most honest and most frustrating thing I can say right now. What I do know is that if she moves out tomorrow, if this moment of weirdness becomes the thing that ends the tenancy, then whatever possibility existed, real or imagined, disappears with her. And I'll be left with a vacant apartment and the quiet, nagging feeling that I either dodged something messy or let something meaningful walk out the door. And that uncertainty is what's eating me alive. So I'm here, asking the internet, asking strangers who don't know me and don't owe me anything, what would you do? If you were in my position, if someone this close to you offered something this complicated, would you collect the rent and keep the boundary clean? Or would you let yourself see where it goes? And I'll throw the other question out there too. The one that's going to sound worse out of context, but I'm asking it anyway. Would any woman actually do this? Genuinely. Not out of desperation, but out of actual interest. Is that even a real thing, or am I naive enough to believe something flattering that might just be a survival move? I don't have answers tonight. I just have a ceiling to stare at, and a decision I haven't fully made yet, and the feeling that however I handle this next conversation, something is going to change, and I just hope I'm man enough to handle it the right way.